can also wipe away the tears if you're a WE fan, because that game number 1 brought you back into life, but took it away just as quickly. Hello and welcome back to the LPL. My name's Shaker Sterix, Aussie Penko, joined by Parento Raz Mohammed. Raz, that was an explosive way to end the first game.
Yes, it was. Explosive, self-explosive. It's like throwing a grenade at your own team.
Pulling the pin and realizing, well, shit.
I appreciate that. It's like in your instance, apparently, you just don't have a hand to throw it. You're just like, I shouldn't have done this.
I should not have done that.
Yeah, Team WE, essentially, it came down to that moment. I know we're going to get down to it, but it's unfortunate to be able to see it. But before we talk about the misgivings,
You want to go MVP?
you got to go praises.
Please announce.
Sing the praise. I don't remember. You go.
Okay, it's not.
Boom!
So, Knight did a lot of damage. You're talking about 369, easily could have swung between the two.
Yeah, I think Knight, the shock blast that he had consistently being able to nail down xiye was actually fairly game-changing. So, like, sure, at the end of the day, I wanted 369 to be able to make it because I thought that he was, like, headstrong on the play. But who was with him at that game-ending moment? Of course, it was the Jason himself.
It was the boys.
It was the boy. Knight himself. I love the way he was able to play out mid-game. Obviously, certain areas in the game which they ended up following through. But I think that, top esports showed to me what not a lot of teams have in the LPL. I think them, Invictus Gaming, RNG to a certain degree, the calm ability to be able to come back into a game. G2 actually have this pretty exceptionally. There have been so many instances when they actually fall through during MSI and they realize, okay, just take a step back, go to what has done us a lot of good in this game, throw ourselves back on side lanes, which has been able to create windows for ourselves. Great amount of picks that they were able to consistently get on post. So once again, congratulations to Top Esports. Now, we throw elbows. What?
No, I'm ready for it to start.
Yeah, let's go for it. Okay, let's go for it. Because first things first, I guess we're going to still throw some good plays to Team WE because of the flank initially coming through from Top Esports, excellently pushed back. I think the ultimate that Nico ended up providing gave it a lot of great space. Same goes towards the Braum as well. And of course, the reset going back on Aatrox.
Yep.
This is how they should be playing this one out. Close-knit community, essentially, in a full 5v5, protecting Mystic as much as possible. The issue is more of that push and pull. This is the game ender that we were talking about. They didn't have eyes on the Jace and Ryze to begin with, but even if the Jace wasn't there and it was just the Ryze himself, don't go for this play. Ryze can do a considerable amount of damage with the wave that he has. Super minion wave that he was able to push through. If you go for a Baron when you don't have priority through bot lane or any wave, any bit of like room to deal with, they can just stop your base.
Yeah.
Ryze will be able to take that 1v1 very easily against the Nico, and will have a considerable amount of damage underneath his kit to be able to take down the turrets as well. So I thought that Team WE put themselves in a checkmate position.
Yeah.
Just let them have Baron. Or at least put yourself for a possibility we get a second smite steal, right? These are something that, like, Team WE, if they put themselves in that position, go for it. You see a lot of teams willing to give up Baron and then just play to what is a great team fight composition just to force it on them. So obviously they have a lot to talk about in between games going to game 2. Thankfully in the LPL we have best of 3s. So level of adaptation is still possible.
At least for Top Esports, putting them on the ropes after game number 1 for WE is somewhat commendable, but also the way they played part of the earlier skirmishes that we're looking at first is a WE that, I reminisce and say that was spring. Like WE in spring, good with early skirmishes, good to play through beishang, and how Mystic can be free in some of the fights.
That still requires a considerable amount of consistency that they're not having right now. Because like WE in spring is not the WE of 2018 and 2017. WE of 2017 and 2018 with the, Mystic, with
957 if we're talking 2017 especially.
Well, I mean just the players that are currently playing, which is xiye and Mystic, they actually prefer to go through like the late game style.
Right.
And that's essentially what we're seeing here, where this time around they changed the dime, said that we're going to have a lot more early game pressure. It's unfortunate that they got pushed back in a lot of instances, but like this is the style that we wanted to see, to your credit.
Yep.
Like the meta is early game dominance, turret plating as much as possible. Rift Herald, turret plating, get that much cash on top of a member as you can get, as we saw from Top Esports. But Team WE needs to start playing to the meta because it's not changing anytime soon.
At least we saw the early rotation towards the top side with Rift Herald, but I remember you pulling a point up in that first game that would have liked to seen it in the bottom lane, set up for objectives, had the foresight to set themselves up for a better mid game.
Yeah, I thought that the first 5 minutes was really well done from Team WE. That they had set up beishang to succeed. And that's what I was talking about, what I really wanted to see a spotlight on beishang.
Yep.
First 5 minutes he delivered. That's what you can control from a coaching standpoint, is the ward on top of Raptors, the response to that if Sejuani doesn't take it. So now she's on bot side, and of course Team WE got a great 2v2 on top of LokeN, completely shoved them out of lane. At that position, LokeN looks at that and he's like, oh my god, that's a BG situation. I have to hope that my other lanes can carry me. But then to your point, you get back to a situation where beishang now starts losing a lot of experience through consistent Raptors losses, right? Sejuani was doing a great job being able to come back into it. And I think that's more of an issue where now you're starting to see that Top Esports is a great team that can come back in a lot of bad situations.
Also, testament to XX again, that level lead never really changed until we got to 20, 25 minutes when it got down to the Baron still for WE. So always mitigating as many losses as possible. And,
yep.
how many times? 2 or 3 times around the Raptors.
That's why they're willing to give them a lot of these, weaker 1v1 junglers. Give him the Gragas, give him the Sejuani, give him as much the Jarvan as well. Junglers that will lose in 2v2 situations just because he can minimize losses. There are a lot of really talented junglers in the LPL that can do just that. I'm talking about Kandi, Clearlove, a lot of these junglers that are really well known for saying, okay, I can take a step back. Yep. That's fine. Not only do I have faith in my solo laners, but I have faith in myself to not make any stupid decisions.
That's true.
And to be on the right side of the map. And I think for XX, that was certainly the case. Look at him.
On top of that as well.
Look at him.
That's some
Lay the smackdown.
He's asking, why did I get MVP?
Follow me.
Why did you get MVP?
No, he's like saying, next time you follow him, my ass. If I go in a direction, buddy, you just follow me. God damn.
Very vocal.
Look at me. Yeah. Talk that.
I don't know if you've ever seen any of the mic checks or if anyone out there has ever seen the player cams of XX, but he is loud.
Follow me.
He is constantly talking.
That's why it's my time to talk. I love this, man. You don't know. Oh my God, he's talking too much now. This is not stopping. It's like when my mom comes in my room and I'm not in bed. It's like when I'm like 12 years old, it's like, mom's like, I came back 3 times and you're not sleeping yet?
It's personal experience. He's a vocal member. And we're having a look over at WE, and I'm curious about the comms here because as you were wondering, and I think we're both wondering, what happened around the Baron call, what's going to happen coming into this second game. What is the communication like for this team when you have a coaching change like Dog8 leading the charge?
It's a good question because Dog8 as a coach has always been more of that soft-spoken, like an analyst, right? He's been around for a while. He's been in fact, just recently Victory 5, yep. Exactly. So coming onto this team, you respect his mindset. The drafts have been coming in pretty strong from the team. I just think it comes down to that most vocal member on the squad, which is xiye. Depends on how xiye wants to form the composition, so we'll see as we get in there. I think Corki is that priority, though, when we get into the second phase, that he wants to pick up for himself.
I want to see what changes here, because going into Game 2, WE now on blue side here. The Luck's still a constant ban, but this time the Aatrox is taken away by Top Esports.
Oh, you got to go Rise. I like the fact that we're being able to see, like, Aatrox banned, as you had mentioned, the Silas ban taken away. Yuumi being a priority pick in the LPL has just not been in it. Like, we've been seeing so many, like, that you already mentioned, Lux has been a go-to, but of course got banned. Nautilus has been a big pick as well. There's actually just been so many teams willing to give away the Yuumi, recognizing that you can just basically skirmish into it.
Missing's most played champion on that side note as well, so a part of the comfortability there for him. And for Top Esports, you're mentioning the Rise. Of course, Nico available there for Knight or 369.
I don't think Top Esports want to pick a Rise alongside the Nico and give away both of their solo lanes on first side of red side. So it's a good pick for them to just go Jarvan, hold the fort, and wait to counter pick. I think that's what you need to see. First of all, you need to see what is happening in the bottom lane. If Team WE is holding on to their 80 carry pick until second phase, then it makes it so much easier for Top Esports. They're going to start banning away 80 carries. The Lucian was such a great pick for Mystic. Looks like he recognizes that, already hovering it.
Makes sense to go for that priority again. WE, it just shows you how much they rely on Mystic and missing in the bottom lane. And you already got the Yuumi, the ability to dash forward and find that chase, that constant pick is there with Lucian.
This creates a weird scenario, though, because Team WE oftentimes play through their bot side. Lucian and Yuumi just have so much mobility within the lane. Oftentimes, you leave them alone. You go up towards mid lane, maybe play to your top lane a little bit more. You might see that extra love going on to pose. So Now we get to see him, pick up his pick in second phase, perhaps get, a counter pick, but oftentimes top esports even hold counter pick for 369 rather than holding for Knight. So they already know that Nico, I'm just going to make the assumption that it's going to be a mid laner, even though it can go top lane.
Okay.
That I expected to go towards Knight. So it's going to be more of a, let's say, a bait towards counter picking top lane.
Let's find out in the second phase. You see the Nautilus locked in here, going down to Ben again, most likely. One of the rare cases we see in the mid is with Doomby and no one else. But for WE now, the question is, how are you going to facilitate your top and your mid? As you were pointing out before, what is Post going to sit himself on this time?
I love the Jace ban. I think xiye and Knight are two of our marquee Jace players, so already denying it away from xiye has been is a smart decision.
AD carry taken away there by WE as well. So, towards the bottom lane, it's funny how there's been priority in the bottom lane draft here for WE, and top esports have gone for their solo lanes once again. It's telling. This is where the team's really focused out.
I want to make a point here about AD carries now, because Lucian being picked up really early from Team WE, sure, it can set up for a great Yuumi-Lucian situation in the bottom lane, but we already talked about it in the first draft, that xiye is a great Lucian player. And with Olaf in the midst, usually Olaf you want to be able to have access to enemy Raptors, to be able to bully pretty early. If you are losing through mid, or not shoving and allowing enemy jungler to be able to pick up, the wealth of his own camps, then what are you even doing? The Olaf pick is useless in that situation.
Yep.
So I think Lucian gives you a lot of, free mid lane trade situations. So this is an option. I love the Lucian early just because you can hand it over to xiye if he wants it.
Olaf can really excel in the strong 2v2. So WE, opportunity on the board. The Rise has made it this far across where top esports say, no, we want the Xayah. We want the AD carry this early on. Means that flexible opportunity left for them.
Yeah, Team WE needs some CC. Even if it's just Rune Prism. At this stage, right? Because this team, you already see it off in the top of your screen, 1 in 5. The ability for them to be able to pick up opportune fights later on and without any point of CC, they need some ease of access in fights. So I really enjoy that pick, a little bit of pick potential that the Rise has with Rune Prism.
WE, were they going to go towards the Azir? It seems like xiye's best champion, arguably most notable champion in the Corki that you were mentioning earlier.
There we go. I mean, we're looking at the win rate. I think a whole host of those losses are probably onto Team WE.
Yep.
xiye is our best Corki player in the split, so I already talked about it being picked up on second phase. It's going to be an easy pickup. So Rise and Corki, great solo lane options in the later portions of the game where they can just split up. Oh, this is a good hover, though.
Okay, 6 seconds. Let's find out. It has been a long time coming. First Kassadin of the summer split.
Against the Kassadin player, too.
Yes.
It's against xiye.
What a matchup to take it into. All right, Raz, you're going to have to break this down a little bit further.
A lot of AP. The shield will be able to deal with it. And, of course, I'm expecting it to be a fleet footwork on top of the Kassadin, too.
All true.
So he should be able to keep himself topped up. The only concern is not whether he gets harassed in lane. It's the bottom lane. It's the shove that Team WE will consistently have. So expect the double teleport, hell, triple teleport from top esports to be a complete look on the defensive pressure. If bottom lane, if LokeN and Ben are getting pressured in a dive situation, we're going to be focusing on the Kassadin teleport. If he can look to not just defend his friends, but if they can turn the fight too, post 6, Kassadin's going to have that chase on you.
I'm just so surprised the first person we see it out of is Knight. It's not like Fen's on the Rift and suddenly, we got Stake Esports returning. This time it's Knight. And picking up the first Kassadin of the split. Another statement by the mid laner of top esports.
Look, when you have Knight in your midst, this happened on Suning when he was having his debut split with the team, and now he's on top esports. The team is built around him. A lot of the times he can pick whatever the hell he feels like is strong.
Yeah.
And they will construct the composition around him. Now, the comp is actually pretty weak early on in this game to deal with what Team WE has to offer. But obviously, that's why the teleport comes in really clutch. That if the teleports are expended for laning phase, let's just say, like, Kassadin's heavily pressured, ends up losing a trade, has to teleport back into lane, then man, is his bottom lane screwed. So I want to see what ends up happening in the early trades. If top esports have a very slow game, that's great. It's like, that's what you want. You want to be able to farm up to your breakpoint. So let's see if we can do it.
Pop Blossom, Realm Warp, the feathers will fly. Top esports will look to crush WE a second time, but as close as game 1 was, you want to see something as intense in this second game as WE try to find another series win, another game win at the very least. And xiye has taken the best skin in the game.
It is a fabulous skin. And a great chroma, too.
Yeah, the dance is the best part. Except, sadly, not going to see that in competitive. Only by, I think it was Jensen. Maybe it was Impact. No, that was Jensen. All right, Raz. You see Cassidy in your first game, by the way, who picked up the ward. So he's got a bit of experience. Now we talk about expectations again for the mid lane.
Take a look at this, though. I mean, this is the most important part. A late invade to be able to catch XX.
You're going to find yourself with an undertow down. Luck. XX locked on down. You said good luck. I think you're right. He smites and flashes out, but beishang going to do the same. Hits level 2, and XX is on the run.
And they push him to the wrong side of the map, too, so he can't even go directly towards his own blue buff. Take a look at the blue, too. Early ward to be able to catch him up if he even bases to get it. So right now, Team WE's early game, once again, first 5 minutes, well-structured.
Yeah.
So they can put XX behind.
beishang to go straight to Raptors as well. Clears that out immediately. Back to blue. His own red available. Conquers Olaf, who you know is going to build warriors this game.
What's going to be frustrating is XX is eventually going to base. And he's going to, thankfully now, he's going to base early to be able to go to his blue buff. Because if he waited too long, then beishang would have been in a position to challenge his blue buff as well. Mid lane's naturally going to be shoving. Bottom lane is naturally going to be having a great position too. So yeah, beishang having a great early game and a composition, funny enough, that is going to be doing well early.
So big based off this Olaf. So 13 CS already. As you mentioned before, XX was backing level 2 on the Java, now going to his own blue. Make sure he gets a quick clear here.
Yeah, good control ward just to at least hide the HP value of the blue buff if it is to be contested. He has to be ultra focused on, you know, possibility of it being stolen. So a good mindset from XX. You could already see that he was pretty perturbed early on, but look at this.
Hard to find a recovery while Mystic and missing. Big trades there from LokeN and Ben. You take that if you're top esports.
I mean, at the end of the day, thankfully, Yuumi gives you some great HP back.
That's true.
And on top of that, the lifesteal value of Doran's Blade, and he still has a potion to his name. That's the most inseparable part about dealing with a Yuumi lane. Even with the picks and, you know, a bit of poke that you end up having in the lane, if you don't have a good all-in, they're just going to heal right back, and it's going to be K.
But having said that, if another engage comes through like that, then you start worrying if you're someone like Mystic.
Certainly.
Zoomies at this point doesn't heal enough. Of course, does more when you're at lower health, but speaking of the jungle matchup, beishang says peekaboo, and about a second late.
But at least now he knows where he is. If we're looking at 4 minutes and 30 seconds, that's when Raptors should be coming up. Raptors and Krugs is going to be the next bit of focus.
Yep. So
then I need to look at beishang. Is beishang going to keep himself on the bot side of the map? You're going to already see him basing. That means he wants to match J4 really early on. So that's just going to be constant pressure right now. beishang is going to be levying towards XX.
Early skirmishes, longsword there as well, Raz. Red buff still up and available, so this level 4 Olaf, who has the level lead over XX, is going to continue to hover around the bottom side, while XX now with Scuttle has an opportunity to look top or look for a camp. He has nothing here.
That's the risk that's involved. He's going to have a camp with the Raptors that I've mentioned. It should be up very soon. But picking up Scuttle Crab, he knows that the enemy blue side is going to be cleared out. He just needs to have ultra focus and knowing that he can get contested on these Raptors. So here it is. I mean, that's what's going to be expected. Olaf already making the movement over. He doesn't care about the gank. He needs to just support xiye so he can make his way towards Raptors.
He doesn't want to lose a control ward, and that's very fair. And look, Raptors are up as well, so great timing for beishang.
So that's the frustration involved. Timing camps is a crucial part of the game. beishang took the Raptors. Hell yeah, he knows when it's coming back up. So now Knight has to put in a little bit of pressure himself, always being pushed underneath tower. CS disadvantage, although it's slight, just to be able to support XX.
Yeah. You look at top, you look at mid, and you say, well, right now, suffering against WE while beishang continues to farm towards the Krugs, leaving it.
So you just need Rise to consistently shove up. This needs to be a two-man, unless if you can get 100-0 on XX. I actually don't know how much damage you can do.
Undertows
Get it on him!
Red buff, he's walking into him. He presses W Ragnarok, or rather slices himself down. half health for the J4.
So I was concerned just because, as you can already see, Nico had priority there. If it takes too long, that's a 2v1.
Yep.
But, I mean, he just bursted down the Jarvan. And the experience advantage is real.
He didn't impress Q, just walked into him. At least XX consolation prize in the Krugs, but still the menace in beishang goes back to his own and will consistently hold that lead.
A deep breath of fresh air now for XX. He's going to be completely fine. Has Wolf Camp to deal with. Red buff's going to be coming up soon. If you're Olaf, you're going to be getting a full sweep of your own camps.
Yep.
The fact that you lost out in Krugs there means that you need to make your own full clear to get to your own Krugs so you can keep and consolidate the advantage you already have. So at least if you're XX, you're happy. You're still going to be at a level disadvantage.
Yep.
But it was getting pretty bad for a second there.
I mean, it goes to show you that once again, for XX, consolidating some of that disadvantage he has in the early game, although this game, to come back from this, is going to be even more of a testament if he can do it.
At this point, I mean, the only thing we're going to be looking towards is like early Mountain Dragon.
Oh, that's nice.
It is, isn't it?
Look at that.
It's like a mosaic. I know there is a painting stream right now happening in the LPL.
Yes.
We're basically trying to contest
We're
that.
copying.
Hell yeah.
We don't care about copyright. It seems the painting has gone away, but
What do we? If we're talking about copyright, they're literally painting other personalities.
and I mean they did.
And not
they
giving
dressed up like
consent.
Bob Ross as well, so I think that's a bigger
Yeah,
question.
that's what I want to see more of
Let's
it.
get it.
Yeah.
beishang level 6 as well. He's breaking the game.
But yeah, blue buff contest is going to be the natural one. They had a ward on it. They knew when he was going to be taking it. This is just going to be constant pressure. The only way teams end up trying to break this is by fully committing to a fight around the objective at play.
Yep.
Or just do this. I mean, this is the level point in which Knight can start taking over the lane. Now he can actually look for trades like these if xiye just tries to, use Phosphorus Bomb to clear the wave.
And he's got raw AP as well, Raz. This is what it does. Small Valkyrie out for xiye. Knight has the Realm Warp again, jumps on top, flashes into him, wants a solo kill. He finds it. He'll die as well, but first blood, he wins.
Took a little bit more time. He thought if he was going to be able to get it a little bit more cleanly, would have been able to get out free. But you start to see it really now turn on the Corki, and look at this dive.
Another one towards the top side. Flash out from post. Really nice dive here from top, but it's negated. Turret and flash. Post flashing out was even nicer.
Nice job, Pose. Didn't have much mana to his name, but he just made it count. Great Rune Prism. Made it even harder for 369 to get out.
And then across the map, beishang still winning it out with small fairy claps across Xi'an as Mountain Dragon's picked up. And this blue buff that we were talking about is going to go over to beishang, making a 20 CS lead.
This is the most important part of the game now, because you're starting to look at the mid lane that was working so heavily in favor of xiye, but of course once level 6 comes through, Kassadin is going to have that trade on top of you.
Yep.
He's been able to keep himself topped up pretty easily. CS disadvantage we were talking about is good enough to keep yourself in the lane. So package now for xiye, he needs to be able to make it worthwhile.
And for Knight, remember, it's a Rod of Ages Kassadin that we're seeing here from Knight. So we'll check on that later, because this first blood is what made it happen.
But take a look at this. I think he got an auto attack canceled out because of the flash. He still ended up getting it. But like at the end of the day, too much, of course, HP. So close. If that was going to be lethal, he would have gotten out pretty freely.
So the 1-for-1 trade in the end, you're mentioning the CS lead there. xiye 10 ahead, picks up a Sheen.
Nice.
Has the Cull stacking. But beishang looking towards the top side while XX gets to 7 off the wave. And for the first time, this game actually has a level lead.
Olaf is moving back to his Grump, even pinged it too. So Pose, thankfully, is taking a step back.
Cataclysm was available, so it would have meant his untimely end if he couldn't get out in the Realm War. beishang still nearby, hits 7 himself, once again breaks the game.
Of course, would love to apologize to the audience about the tech issues. Never want to see it happen, but it's always difficult when it comes to the home and away games. Should be fine as we go along. And also, I thought I saw a great thunderstorm out here today. Could be something with it.
Oh yeah, it was bad.
I felt bad too because I ordered a coffee. It was like 11 a.m. Ordered a good
You
coffee.
made that driver.
Look, now when I
Track it
ordered
out.
it was completely fine. There were clouds looming over, but I thought I had some time. I was completely wrong. The bag was wet. The man was wet. He said it was fine, though. But of course he's going to say it's fine. He doesn't want to make the whole conversation awkward.
The drivers are so nice here anyway. They
Look, if I was the driver, I'd say, hell no, I'm not fine. You put me out there.
but not in this land.
You paying me an extra fee.
It's the extra niceties you get over here.
Yeah.
Of course, just amidst all this as well, while we've been talking, Top Esports been setting up for the bottom lane dive. There's the flash with the depth charge coming in, the flag and drag XX Cataclysm's down, but the missed synergy there with Ben, dredge lines into a wall. 369 even TP's in. beishang gets the slow down, and WE just get everything.
Yeah, you're completely happy. Pan over to xiye, putting in some deep work into the mid lane turret right now. So, oh, they're committing. They have to.
They have to. You're right. This is going to be the dive now into Mystic and beishang. Not available with the flash there. Mystic gets locked on down. Dredgeline finally connects. It's a 1-for-0 for now, but 369 gets slow and taken out by xiye. beishang running forward. This is the Olaf we didn't want to see. Knight with a realm warp over the wall, but beishang trying to nail him down. Undertow doesn't connect, but Post is chasing him up. XX, Knight, the windy Q as Preacher would call it, doesn't find the mark, but the Undertow comes even closer. They find XX, they jump on, they get the Q in the end, the prowling projectile, and WE turn it all the way back.
This is why you take Comet, ladies and gentlemen. That was fun as hell to watch. Top Esports lost on the initial draw, wanted to get something out of it. But xiye was sitting nicely, sitting tight. I still have teleport. I can still follow up. And the big winner of all of that was that big boy beishang.
Yeah, who was already so far ahead. And you watched that Olaf at the start of the fight. When's he coming in? You definitely knew when he finished up 2-0 and 3. Now picks up the Rift Herald, and they're right out of there.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
To find yourself in that position. I mean, Mystic had flash on that. I think XX initial call to follow up on Ben's ultimate that came through was cool. This one was unfortunate because they wanted just an in and out situation to get the kill. It lasts too long. And then you can just start watching Yuumi and Olaf run you down. And that's the fear here, is because it just doesn't end. The Q from Yuumi, even just quick it up, follow it through. Knight didn't have the mana to continue to go on, so XX, right decision, slow them down. Thought he had a bit of extra time so he can flag and drag. Wasn't the case.
beishang almost picked up that third one as well. So a lot of fears now for Top Esports as this game seems to have started off differently and is pacing so much more towards WE with a 3.5k gold lead.
That's the risk that you run with Top Esports comp. Not only the initial risk, but also just going all in with the dive that they had. A lot of teams at the end of that will say, okay, we lost out in this. We'll just have to put ourselves back mid, top lane, just base. But that wasn't the call here. They thought they can get the kill on Mystic. They did. They thought they could do it fast enough. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case.
There's so many chain effects for that play as well. Rift Herald was the first one. Ocean Dragon's the second one. beishang unstoppable at this point with Warriors. Phage ready for the Black Cleaver to come up next. We build Warriors Olaf here, while Warriors Jarvan in the top side with a Pop Blossom on a post. He can't flash away this time. They've seen that trick before, Raz, and it doesn't work the second time around.
This follow-up, even have an extra member to their name. But take a look at this. Actually, it's not that good of a Rift Herald play. A lot of damage should be done to it, but it's a Kassadin, so you can already see it.
Not unless beishang wants to go in, who pops the Ragnarok. Depth charge going to go down anyway for the extra damage. There. Ben dies with the help of Rift Herald, but really it's xiye who burns him down. Down to the 1v1. Rift Herald's going to party with him. It was all a ploy. It was all a ruse. As xiye and Knight into the 1v1. It continues. Waiting for the Realm Warp. xiye baiting. beishang's there. How's that?
Clean comms, my friend. Clean comms. beishang's out, comes right back in. I was worried for xiye. I was worried for the initial Rift Herald. I didn't like any of it. But it came through so well done. I think Ben overplayed his hand on that one.
Yep.
When they recognized that Kassadin wasn't going to be in range for the Rift Herald take, you just let it go, man. But of course, gets completely bursted out. And xiye plays the long con.
It's such a good time in
I
that
just want to see it again.
Here we go again.
Just want to see it one more time.
Because that looks good.
Look, Ragnarok, I think you recognized too late. It was going to get right past through all the damage that you were going to be putting through. But then look at the play around from Olaf. Goes straight towards the bush too. Recognizes this is your only way out, xiye. So xiye's like, ah, damn. I was just kidding, dog. Don't even worry about it. I'll give you a paint. I'll give you something.
That was the flash as well.
Right now, the two members that should have the gold have the gold.
Yep.
Olaf in the early game, and you hand that baton off towards Corki, where he's going to make it right. Of course, his BF sword already. I expect that to be going into his Infinity Edge immediately afterwards. This is a lot of damage in the composition immediately.
Yeah, I mean, the Trinity Force got picked up early enough, but a BF sword paired with it on a 3-1-1 Corki. Great news as Also, when you look at the jungle advantage, just touching on that again, 50 CS, rather 40. I'm sorry, Raz, I can't count. 40 CS. That's still massive.
Can't tell time.
I can't
count.
A lot of things I can't do.
Numbers.
So 40 CS on an Olaf versus Jump. Beishang is level 11 to XX's 9.
And that's the most important part of all of this. You rarely see like 2 level advantages right off the get-go in terms of a jungle. And the jungle matchup was already a positive one in favor of Olaf. So there's a lot of great synergies with the Yuumi too.
Yeah.
I mean, initially it was the double AD carry, so she can just kind of soup up both the Corki and the Lucian, give them a lot of movement speed to roll around. But if we're talking about a champion that really rolls with movement speed, certainly the Olaf comes into play. And you just love to see the snowballing too. You saw it in the initial dive, but one of the greatest level 1s in the game is an Olaf and Yuumi early on. So, yep, there's a lot to deal with.
And a lot to do now for Top Esports, who are behind 6,000 gold. And the bleeding's not stopping. Post in the bottom lane, hitting the side lanes. Top's going to go down shortly, while the rest of Top Esports trying to react to this push of the rise.
Yeah, it's a good mirrored play, though, if you look at top lane. 4 members strong. WE just want this tower early. And if you look at the time, 15 minutes in, like they get a lot of time to secure vision on the northern quadrant of the jungle.
Yeah.
And put Top Esports far away from the Baron that would come up 3 minutes later.
And what I noticed before with Mystic, he let the top lane turret drop with the minion wave. Rather than saving it, extending this lane out with the deep vision they have makes it so dangerous for Top Esports to put the Cassid in there or even the Nico.
Well, think of it this way. If you have a full cannon minion wave, you hold it, you as in like you take the turret down and allow it to push in.
Yep.
Like Cassidon can freeze in. You can already see him slow pushing the wave.
Sure.
The problem with that is that you now have like that member down, at least for the 4 seconds that teleport comes through, and a play that Team WE will force. Like 40 seconds until Dragon comes up. Yeah, sure, take that top lane wave. Do that if you want. We have the members now to solidify that bot side vision.
The only difference is if WE Beishang gets caught out, but xiye is missing. They're going to find the Pop Blossom down. 3 members. Here it is. First kill over the top. Mystic caught out as well. 369 flashes forward. He gets the final charge and the final kill of the fight. 2 big picks amongst Dragon.
That was sneaky. That was unforeseen. Top Esports should have been the one running. Should have been conceding vision. But they find themselves great control ward, recognizing that somebody's going to come. Let's just get the pick.
And it's a proactive play with mid-turret on the menu. Post hopefully going to defend this one, but Beishang's here, so not in this rotation, but it makes that Dragon, which is an Ocean, that much more reasonable.
Yeah, I don't like 18-minute Ocean, but I certainly love taking it away from Team WE.
Yeah.
I think it is a great denial, so they certainly needed it with 3 Dragons on the table for Team WE.
Does also mean if Top are able to find a pick again, that next mountain could be a possibility. But WE running it up the mid lane with 3 members, and Top Esports aren't going to be able to defend.
Yeah, they were completely shoved out, so good basing from Top Esports. You have to be giving something away. But it certainly sets up Team WE for an easier Baron once that clock strikes 20. But take a look at this. Like, when we were talking about this, we said this was a bad situation for Top Esports. You have your Cassidon shoving up that top lane slowly. You have like a man down in the bottom side of the map, so if there was a great fight, it'd be a 5v4 situation for at least a teleport duration. But no, it was the Nautilus hook that Nico set up with ulti. Top Esports were ready for it.
There's the low cooldowns that are already back up, essentially, alongside that Cataclysm. So the lockdown potential we're finally seeing here from Top Esports, who, remember, have the scaling Cassidon, have the Nico who can turn these fights, and when you have a Xiye who's 2 items, even though you're this far behind this early on, we talked about time in Champion Select, and this gives them a little bit more of it. When you have more time, what else is on the menu? Well, we're getting towards that 20-minute mark. Baron's up, still secured with Vision by WE. So Top Esports still have to fight against the current with Beishang roaming around with the Yuumi as normal.
And this is going to be the great push and pull Team WE have to be confident with. Because we're just taking a look at what Cassidon wants. Cassidon wants to be able to get to that 16. That's 4 levels from now. Thankfully, he was able to get that rank 2 on his ultimate. Yep. But if he can get to that point, he's completely happy to be able to join his team in these fights. But take a look at how scared he is to take that top lane wave with positioning around Baron that we have right now. So Top Esports really being bullied around the northern quadrant that we were talking about. And it really is a matter of time. one Mountain Dragon still has a massive impact. And how quickly you can take Baron, especially with a double AD comp.
And 2's coming up in 3 minutes, so for WE, all the cards just lining up again. Not going to be able to clear this eventually, but so much poke coming through. So difficult as WE grouping up topside with the bottom lane pushing in as well.
But they still can't take a mistake. Remember, Team WE's comp really doesn't allow them for room with mistakes. They don't have a really dedicated tank. But
That's a lot of damage. What you can force now with likes of Mystic. XX almost dies. Knight now on the roam, on the walkabout. LokeN might be caught out here. Beishang, here comes the final chapter into the Featherstorm. The Undertow doesn't connect, and that saves his life, but WE just disintegrate members.
That Yuumi chunk, that's some real stuff right there. You have to put some real respect on it, but Rai's actually getting pretty chunked out. I don't know what ended up happening there, but he loses a lot of pressure here.
Yep.
I think it's at least perfect timing. If it had been a little bit earlier, then Team WE would have been at a disadvantage up top side, but they get a lot still. So he still bought them enough time to be able to get that top lane inner turret.
They're still up on the gold advantage over 369 as well, even with those 2 kills to the Nico and a small CS advantage. We haven't really checked in on the top lane, but you've got an Archangel staff. It'll be a while before we talk about post towards that 2-3 item spike. Top items there for 369. Well, almost towards the spooky ghost to get that second item and the real slowdown that Nico needs.
Yeah, all WE needs, I mean, technically both teams require time. I'm a little bit concerned for top esports a little bit as we go back toward the artistic mode.
Again, we apologize for this.
Yeah, of course. But for Team WE, as I mentioned, I mean, they need to be able to get to themselves, like, you know, Morellonomicon, Zhonya's. Post needs to be able to set himself on side lane. And I think he does a great job if he was to deal with, you know, the Kassadin, if the time comes to it. It really is a skill matchup once it comes to that point. But certainly, top esports needs to be able to take control of the side lane to really get back into this game.
Got some of the shove down on the bottom lane as well as minions crash in. The top lane has that same shove, but still setting up towards the Baron, which has been cleared out by WE again. And they're not forcing anything just yet, so it is a slower paced game.
But it's about that time. 40 seconds until that dragon that can really change things.
Very true.
Top esports, sure, are really sectioned towards the top side of the map because they just want to be able to defend the Baron possible take. But really, Team WE just want to be able to, you know, throw them all up top side so they can take the second Mountain Dragon and make it so much easier to just rush around Baron. So hard position for top esports.
Still up towards the top side. Bottom is uncontested. Again, vision control held by WE. And at this point, with Post just pushing in against 369. Remember the AP to AD conversion against turrets. And Post having a great time here. 369 probably can't run into him like that.
Yep. I mean, this is just really a good matchup for Post. The only time he'll be contested if it's going to be a Kassadin, but he's not at that point right now to be able to deal with Post. So it's going to be a tough one. It's also a pretty late tier pickup here for Kassadin.
Very true.
Because he wanted to be able to get to that stage after his first item pickup. So it's going to be tough for him.
It's 1-3-1 on our very first mid lane Kassadin, but as we're speaking about it, Double Mountain now picked up. WE have the trigger, and even if it gets to that next 5 minutes, they'll have triple on the menu, which is a very lucky turn of events.
This is a good position for Team WE to have. Lucian with the Yuumi just through mid lane. There is no one on top esports right now that can contest that.
Yep.
They can't try. They'll get picked off if they do. If LokeN is there, he needs to be able to take the minions on the back half of it. But take a look at this.
Pop Blossom coming down. 369 now in a good position, but Knight coming in. xiye in first. Realm Warp's over the wall, but into Post.
Oh,
a mistake by Knight. He's going to Realm Warp out as well as Flash. They're searching for him. The big one misses, but Knight cannot run that far. Cannot go that far. Knight still getting chased. The Prowling Projectile hits the end. The Comet comes through. Thumbs up from xiye as he's going to force one more Realm Warp. The big one's still missing, and the Prowling Projectile, the ult comes out. They eventually get him, although it takes so darn long.
That Prowling Projectile was outside of the damn radius, and it still hit.
I know.
Concerning.
The last one just went around, and WE now start Baron. They've got 5 versus 4, rather 3. Teleport will be available for 369.
And you know what? They have double Mountain Dragon. There's no way for top to even try to take this away from them. They can just 2-man it. So really good job from Team WE. We didn't even know how that all started. How that whole shenanigans towards the bot side even had, you know, had really resolved itself to begin with. But 369, you know, was in a tough spot.
I can tell you how it started though, Raz. This game started from beishang, and now it's a almost 10k gold leads. So for WE, one of their most solid performances so far in summer.
And once again, I mean, this series has really just been dictated off the first 5 minutes. So we get some context to this entire thing. Good stun initially, but of course the teleport's going to really make it difficult. Kassadin was in a really tough spot because by the time he comes into the play, yeah, your friend's already dead. So he has to literally get out the moment the fight even starts. And we get are we getting the full run? Oh, yeah, we do. So this is the one that I had problems with.
Look at the line.
You're outside of the line! Oh, he keeps himself alive with fleet footwork. You're a god. He actually kept himself alive.
And then this.
Yeah, that one's even better. Yeah. Thank God the auto attack. That was the last auto attack from xiye to be able to get the kill. If that didn't happen, then he was be gone. I didn't even see that initially. The fleet footwork to keep yourself alive with the Krugs.
It was cool, but it wasn't
big brain.
enough.
Still a big brain. I don't care about him dying at the end.
That's fair. Top Esports playing on that intellect now, Raz. They're towards the bottom side looking for a pick, but once that's been thwarted, WE continue to push in now with Baron buff in hand. That is big damage.
That was a huge shot there. You know, quirky damage is starting to come through.
Yeah. xiye at the moment, WE, pride and joy, I would say. 2 items with Zeal in hand, and this Infinity Edge starting to do a lot of work. LokeN even getting poked out by the Yuumi, and a big one from xiye. He's got another one in hand. That's the turret. That's the inhibitor. Thank you so much.
Remember, that's getting amplified, honestly. Not just by the magic boots that you have, but by Yuumi just literally being on top of you. This game is getting a little bit ridiculous.
Top Esports to come back now requires a miracle because they're base broken on the bottom side. Mid as well. And there we go. 2 inhibitors down. Realm Warp to the top side. Take a couple of minions with you.
Yeah, you don't even need those minions. You don't need to take their attention.
It's clinical from WE.
Triple cannon minion wave, yeah!
Now you want to get in with the Pop Blossom, you get one, and you die. With 369 dropping down, XX into the middle with Cataclysm goes golden, only to find himself with the same maker as 369. 2 dead. WE have done everything this game. They've been clean, and now they're ready to state it.
Yep, 3rd inhibitor. You have a wave coming in the bottom lane. And that's 2 people dead already with some long death timers here. So top Esports, you got to go now.
Ben tried to get the engage. He missed. That's a turret. If he finds another one, the second turret's going to go down. But WE have already done enough. Culling into LokeN. And this is now the Nexus. Baron exposed. Knight on the Kassadin. Tried something here in game 2. But WE shut it down before it could even get going.
What a great comeback from Team WE in the series. Game 1 was tough to swallow, it really was.
Yeah.
It's game 2 that you look at with a fine-tooth comb, and if we're just talking about top Esports' ability to adapt, they better. Because 2 games in a row, first 5 minutes were dictated by Team WE. They ran XX down, he couldn't do a damn thing about it.
beishang having one of the best games I've seen him on in summer.
That's a clean game. Take a look at that. Not a second for top Esports to come back in it. And a lot of it does come back to the composition that we were hitting on. If you run this comp and your whole goal is to be able to, you know, outscale, you have triple teleport, you can try and defend bot side wave, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And a lot of it even got exacerbated by the dive on top of LokeN as well. Or at least the dive on top of Mystic, I mean. They tried that dive and they lost literally everybody.
Yep.
Suddenly, you're a Corki and you're pushed forward. You're able to get that extra BF sword with the Trinity Force. You're able to get so much if you're if you're beishang. You already had yourself that Warriors. Now you're coming back home with that big cash to go even further with your Black Cleaver.
Black Cleaver before 15 minutes. It's 2 out of my life.
That's a tough one to swallow.
Also, it kind of comes back as to what I know I discussed with you probably before the broadcast it was, where around the mid lane, against xiye, like how does it work when WE have more mid lane focus where xiye is able to excel? And in this game number 2 against Knight, xiye was in a very prime position.
At the end of the day, League of Legends is a player-focused game. And if you're, you know, coming into the team and you haven't been performing well, you look at your best player and you set them up to perform. xiye has been that player in 2018 when they were just suffering, when they're having some bad times. If they get him out of lane, you know, all of their junglers have said the same thing. You can get the best out of it. I'm not just talking about getting him out of lane, but like if you just set him up to succeed.
Yeah.
2v2 focus, doesn't matter if they have a mid-game or a late-game focus. This is that example where I think a lot of credit goes towards the coaching staff, goes towards Dog A, because those 5 minutes are points of the games that you can control. You can really control how the late invades come through. And for the jungler, beishang had a laser focus of contesting every camp that was contestable, like Raptors was the second Raptors. I think xiye did a great job knowing that, you know, Draven would have been able to get his Raptors for free, but put that early ward down. Just led the charge, essentially, knowing that Olaf would be coming up soon enough. Like, that was just a great focusing game plan that Team WE had early and made mid-game that much
Because their early game's always been fine. Around beishang, the first 5 minutes, as you mentioned, has always been like beishang's wheelhouse. But this time it extended, and XX couldn't make his presence known as much as the other.
Yes. Discipline is what we wanted to see.
Yes.
When you have that gold consolidated, please put it in the bank, play smart. Don't invest. Save, my friends. I felt like what I saw in this game was when they had people in side lanes, and I'm talking about posts, and that whole scuffle happened, Corki pressed teleport early.
Yeah.
He wanted to be in the play as early as possible, knowing that, you know, Cassidy could be there, and that's the way he comes back into the game. So was able to start the plays early, keep them in the game no matter what wrench essentially was being thrown at them by Top Esports.
I want to break that down after the break. We've gotten ourselves to a Game 3 WE in Top Esports coming up right after this.